So this is a longer sequence, and what we're trying to do in this sequence is we're moving towards a pose called padagustasana. It's the forward bend where we actually hold onto the feet. So we're doing poses that will lead us gently and gently to that, opening up the lower back, relaxing the lower back, and taking it gently. Obviously do what you can. Don't necessarily do what I ask you to do if you know that's too much for you, and come out of the pose if you've had enough. Don't wait around for me. So first of all, we'll begin as we usually do, lying on the mat, and do make yourself comfortable. You can, I advise you to put a blanket down underneath you on your mat. That makes it even nicer and more cozy and more comfortable. And if you wish, for this beginning, it's a sort of, well, 5 to 10 minute lying down, checking in how we are. You might need a block for your neck, and you might need another blanket on top of you. So just making sure you're fairly comfy. If you have glasses on, I would recommend taking them off and putting them somewhere safe so you don't stand on them. If you have a glasses case in your yoga room, that's a good idea. So we're in the corpse pose, and could you just rotate your feet from side to side, your ankle joint, and then look down at your feet and spread them maybe 2.5 feet wide. So really quite wide. Good. And then can you wriggle and jiggle your shoulders away from your head, and your hands go outwards. Palms upwards, about, let's see, about a foot from the hips. Chin is towards the chest, and the back of the neck is nice and long, face relaxed. So let's do the 3-minute breathing space, mindfulness check-in. So first of all, in the first minute, we'll check the mind, the emotions, and the body. The second minute, we'll be aware of the breathing. And the third minute, we combine all those plus where we are, complete sense of what's happening in this moment. So first minute, first of all, looking at the mind. So how is this mind doing? Is it bouncing around all over the place? And I find it helps to have a humorous attitude towards the mind, because it always thinks it's being helpful when it's repeating things and nudging you about the same thing 3 million times in one day. Bless its cotton socks. So noticing what's happening, what thoughts are there without any harsh judgment or criticism, just being aware kindly. Funny old mind. And then let's move to the emotional level. Just checking how you're feeling emotionally. And then coming to awareness of the body. First of all, check on your areas of the body, points in the body that have been playing up a little or that you're being careful of. How are they? And remembering to take good care of them when we start the physical poses. And then scanning all of the body. Is anywhere else asking for attention or needing notice, tender loving care? And then return the awareness to the breath. So this is the second minute where we observe the body being breathed. Where is the body moving? What does it feel like? Noticing each breath. And if the mind wanders off, you just ask it another question like, where am I breathing from first? Am I breathing from my lungs first? My belly first as I breathe in? Coming back to awareness of the breath. Okay, and then being aware of the breath, the body, emotions, and the mind. This is how we are in this moment. Find affectionate awareness if possible. Aware of this room, this floor, being in this yoga session. Lovely. So this whole mindful awareness, we're going to hopefully smoothly move forward into our practice in this session. So bringing the legs to parallel and point the toes away from you. Breathing in, take the hands behind the head, stretch the backs of the hands onto the floor. Really stretch the fingers away as the toes point away in opposite directions. And you can bring the belly button slightly in towards the spine. So that gives some compression into those internal organs, especially the colon and the small intestines. Relaxing the face as you do this long stretch. Okay, and then bring the toes towards you. So you're stretching the Achilles tendon and the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. Okay, and then breathing out, bring the hands back to the sides of the body, resting with the palms downwards. And what we're going to do is bend the knees and pull them in. So compression. So hopefully you've not eaten a big meal within the last 2 hours. So pulling the thighs into the back. Into the belly. Okay, and then straightening out the legs and holding behind the thighs. Legs straight up to the ceiling, and bring the toes down towards you as much as you feel able. Okay, and then having the legs going straight up, perpendicular, take the arms behind you and stretch the arms. So fingers pointing away for your right arm, left arm, right arm, left arm, and hopefully toes towards your face. Legs straight up. Breathing into that, chin a little bit towards the chest. Opening out the backs of the knees a little, unless it's painful in the lower back for you to do that. Okay, and then bring the hands back to backs of the thighs and pull those legs in a bit more, okay? As though you were going to place your shins on your face. So lowering those legs down, breathing, breathing, breathing. Okay, and then bringing the feet down, bending the knees. And I'd like you to, you might have to roll up part of your blanket so that your feet go on the floor. If you bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet onto your mat, and I'd like you to have your left foot firmly on the floor and your right leg going up straight, and bring that right leg towards you as you push through your left foot, breathing into that. Nice steady breaths, no rush. Again, trying to ease out the back of the knees if you can. And just protect your lower back. You know how your lower back is. You know if it's not quite at its maximum strength and needs protecting a little. Okay, and now can you straighten out that left leg whilst keeping that right leg in position with the sole of the foot of the right foot parallel to the ceiling? And push the left heel away from you. Lovely, bend the knees. Bend that knee down, blend both knees so your soles of the feet are on the floor again. Pause, nothing to do for a moment. And then, of course, we do the other side. So the left leg goes up, even weight distribution through the right foot, and bring those left toes towards the face. And try to open out the back of that left knee. You can hold on behind the thigh, just gently encouraging that knee closer towards the face and the toes closer towards your face. Okay. And then breathing in, open out the hands behind you, palms upwards to the ceiling, backs the hands on the floor behind you, and stretch the right arm and the left arm out away from you. Breathing into that. Push through the right foot a bit more, and straighten out the left knee a little bit more if it doesn't hurt. Okay. And then straighten out, you can walk the right toes away from you until you've straightened out that right leg. And then you'll probably find the left leg is trying to join it down there. So bring the hands up behind the thigh, and again try to get that left leg to perpendicular toes towards the face. So just gently encouraging. Okay. And then this time, keeping the leg there, see if you can bring your forehead up, raise your head off the floor. Don't tense the shoulders, you can use your forearms and your hands, but bringing the forehead towards the knee. And breathe into that. Relax the shoulders if possible. Keep breathing. Okay, and bend that knee and place that foot onto the floor, bent knee, and then bring the right foot up to match it. Both knees bent, just pause for a moment. Relax the arms wherever you like to. Enter in rest pose, making sure the back of the neck is still long and not scrunched up. Okay, and then bring the right leg up, hold behind the right thigh, stretch the left thigh away from you, and bring the head up to the right knee. So you've got your left leg straight along the floor, the right leg going up to the ceiling, forehead coming towards the knee. Breathing into the pose. If you find that too strong, you can bend the left knee and put the left sole of the foot on the floor. And if you wish, in your own practice, you can do both. You can do it one way and then the other way. Okay, and then breathing out, bring that right foot to the ground, bring the left foot up to match it. Pause again, rest with your arms however they feel comfortable, chin slightly to the chest. So just bring the heels a little closer in to the torso. They're about hip joint width apart, those heels. And we're going to do a simple twist. So I'd like you to put the right foot onto the left knee. Okay, and then bring your left hand up to your right knee. And as you know, it's a twist, you know where this is going. So let's pull that right knee over to the floor on the left. It's quite high up. And your shoulder, your right shoulder will probably come off the ground. So push through the head and lift the left shoulder to ease the upper back platter towards the ground. And look to the right. And the right hand is going out from the shoulder at a right angle. And the palm is upwards and you're looking at that. So you've got this quite tricky maneuver to do where you're trying to get the right knee on the ground, but if you do, your right hand probably lifts off the floor. So you put your right hand on the floor and your left knee comes off, your right knee comes off the floor. So it's a kind of seesaw action. And eventually you're trying to just ease down both of them at the same time, turning the head more to the right and breathing into it. And you probably feel it's wonderful for the lymph area underneath the right armpit and going across the chest. You've got a tremendously powerful abdominal twist going on. It's really working in there, massaging in there, and opening out the right kidney and stretching it. Okay, we're breathing into it before we go up and do the other side. Okay, and then you can see if you can push with that left hand to push that right knee up, roll you onto your back. And slowly, slowly, bring your right foot down to the ground, pause, and you can place your hands somewhere comfortable. Pause, rest, before we do the other side. Close the eyes, letting go. Okay, and then I'd like you to put the left foot onto the right knee. So your left knee is bent. You might want to shuffle your right heel a bit closer to the torso. And then your right hand comes to your left knee. And you know it's a twist, you know what's going to happen. We're going to pull that over to the right, over it goes. Okay, so your left shoulder comes up off the ground. And you can rest your left hand for a moment on your left hip while we try and work out how to adjust the shoulders. So push through the head and lift the shoulders off the ground and then flatten. Imagine you're trying to flatten the upper mid back onto the ground and the left hand goes out, right angles to the body, and you turn the head, you can lift it and turn it to the left. So again, we've got that seesaw action of right knee to the ground, left hand comes up. Back of the left hand goes down onto the ground, and the knee comes up. So trying to keep somewhere near the ground for both of them, easing into it, easing into it. A very strong but very beautiful stretch. It's a variation on the Jitari Pavreti twists. You wouldn't want to have eaten a big meal before doing this, because it's really compressing on the digestive organs. Okay, so keep breathing, nice steady breaths. We'll do the same amount of time on this side as we did on the other side. So just gauging that. Okay, and then with that right hand, you can nudge it under the left leg, left knee, and just push that knee back. So you're not using your back yet for the strength to pull the knee up. And then place both the soles of the feet on the floor, knees bent. And again, just you might need to jiggle and open out your shoulder blades for a moment. And then relaxing the arms wherever you feel most comfortable to relax them. And the next one, you might need a belt or a tie or whatever you have handy that will help assist. So if you've got it within reach, bring it close. But quite a few of you won't need it. So it's the hip opening stretch. So it's wonderfully beneficial to the hips. And just before we go into it, just take the knees side to side. So I get some strong signals to the brain to lubricate in femur into that socket. So the ball of the femur into the socket and all around that area. I want it to be nice and warmed up and relaxed. Just windscreen wipers with the knees down to one side and then the other. Also, of course, it's massaging into the abdominal area again. Always to the good. Okay, and then bring the heels of the feet close into the torso. They're hip joint width apart. And then I'd like you to take your right foot, rotate the right foot in the air, just lifting up the right leg, rotating one way and then the other. So not necessary, particularly for the pose. It just it can help if the ankles feel stiff to make the pose easier by loosening them off. Okay, and then you place the right outside of the right ankle on the left knee, left leg to knee. Okay, and those of you who've done it work with me before, you probably know what's about to happen. You could look through to your left thigh. Okay, you can either put your arms, your right hand goes through the gap between your legs, your left hand goes around the outside of the left thigh, and hopefully you lift the left foot off the floor and you clasp behind your thigh. Some people might need to put a belt around and hold on to the belt. So you've got your knee, left knee, coming towards you, and immediately you'll feel it in the right hip. So bring the chin to the chest, relax the shoulders, and allow that right hip to open out and take that right knee away from you, allowing it maximum stretch, breathing into it. So the more you pull in with your arm strength, that left thigh, and the more you push out your right knee, the more you're going to get this wonderful hip stretch. Breathe into it, nice steady breath. It's really easy to have the chin going to the ceiling, so just keep checking the chin. It's down towards the chest a bit more. Opening out the back of the neck. Okay, and then if you wish to, straighten that left leg and bring it close, even closer towards you while pushing the right knee away from you. So your left foot, sole of the foot is now parallel to the ceiling, or more so as you bring that whole left leg towards the head. extra strong stretch. And you can even encourage with your right elbow, your right thigh to move away from you. Breathing into that. Wonderful. Okay, breathe out, bend the left knee, bring the foot down. Breathe in, release the hands, and let the left foot go to the floor. Breathe in, stretch the right foot straight up to the ceiling and just rotate that ankle joint again. And then breathe out, bring that right foot down to the floor. Widen out the feet for a moment as we'll pause and rest. So bring the knees together and rest your arms wherever feels comfortable. Close the eyes. And let's just pause before we do the other side. As you pause there, you'll probably feel that the right hip area is well invigorated, definitely been used, stretched. So we'll do the opposite for the other side. So bring the feet hip joint width apart, bring the heels up closer to the torso. Raise your left leg and rotate your left ankle. So your foot's up in the heavens, you're just straight leg, rotating, lubricating your left ankle. Okay, and then place that left outside of the ankle on the right leg towards the knee joint. Okay, and then look towards your right thigh. Bring your left hand through the gap between the legs. Your right hand goes around the outside of the right thigh and clasp the right thigh at the back with your hands and start to bring that right knee towards you whilst allowing the left knee to go out and away from you. Relax the shoulders, chin towards the chest, breathing into the pose. And the more you push away that left knee, and the more you pull with your arm strength, your right leg towards you, the stronger the stretch opening in that hip joint. Okay. When you think you've done about the same amount of time, let's take that right leg up straight. Adjust the hand clasp a little bit higher up if you like, and pull that right leg towards the face while still pushing, and maybe even using your left elbow to push the left thigh and knee away. And breathe into that. And if you feel the hip is a bit stiff, it's a good idea to do more of this hip work more regularly, because it will just increase stiffening up unless we're actually working it. Okay, a little bit more, breathing into it. Okay, and then breathing out, bend the right knee. Breathe in, release the hands. Breathe out, release that left, and breathe in. Straighten both legs for a moment, bring the toes towards you. And then rotate both of them, both ankles, and bring those feet down to the floor. Pause, still with bent knees, but let them knock together for a moment. Take the hands behind the head, clasp, and allow the chest area to be open. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Relax the face. So you can probably feel there'll be lots of more blood supply going into that left hip area. So let's just allow that to happen without getting in the way. Replenish and rejuvenate that whole area. Okay, and then one of my favorite poses, what I call the stuffed turkey. So it's another wonderful hip opener. So if you can bend the knees and bring them towards you, and then widen out the knees, reach with your arms through past the knees, through the center, up towards your instep, and holding your instep at the palm of your hand. Your hands are pushing your knees downwards towards your armpits, or even wider if you can do it. See if you can do it even wider. Knees going down towards the floor, chin towards the chest, groin opening and stretching, hip opening, comfortably breathing into that. Just check the head, chin to chest. Check how your knee joints are doing. If there's one knee joint playing up, be aware of that. And helps sometimes to move on that leg, adjust the position so it doesn't play up so much. And then a final widening out, knees wide away from each other. Push a little bit more, knees to the floor. Lovely. And then straighten the legs up to the ceiling. Hold on behind the thighs. And again, stretching those legs by pulling them down towards you. And see if you can reach towards the toe. So remember, we're heading for the standing padagustasana, where we reach towards the feet, hold on to the feet. So this is lying on our back, similar pose. Okay, just gently opening out the backs of the knees in this pose if you can. You can do a sort of stepping action where one knee goes straight, one knee bends side to side. So just feel that as though you were walking along the ceiling a bit. If you can't hold on to the toes, hold on with the hands behind the calf muscles. Okay. And then eventually just rub along the backs of the legs. There's a lot of stretching going on. Okay, and cross the ankles. And bend the knees so that the ankles are coming down towards the tailbone. The knees are still wide up towards the chest, and reach through the outside of the legs to hold on to the big toes. So you can either rock and roll along your mat and come up, or you can roll onto one side now and push with your hands to come up. But I'm going to roll, which is good for the spine. We get this lovely rolling action along the length of the spine as the feet go to the floor, nearly behind me and then in front of me. Rolling away. Getting good abdominal area massage until eventually you come up to seated. Okay, and you can sit cross-legged for a moment, just for pause and rest. And rub your knee joints. Okay. And then swap opposite foot on the outside if you're in this easy cross-legged pose. And again, rub the knee joints, rub along the thigh. Rotate the shoulders backwards and the shoulders forwards. Good, and then Alternate, wrinkle, jiggle. And bring the hands behind you and clasp. And really almost bring those shoulder blades to touching at the back. Clasping the hands behind you. And lifting the hands a little. Good. And then release. And then just rub opposite hand to opposite shoulder. Rubbing in there a bit and rubbing the shoulder joint. Should feel quite comfy. Okay, so you can, we're going on to do the cow's head pose, the Mukasana. And you can do that from cross-legged or you can do it from kneeling. Now I'm quite happy kneeling, so I'm going to do it from kneeling. But it's up to you to choose which way you do it, because we're working with the hands and the arms. So choose your base position. If you are sitting back on your heels and it's a bit uncomfy, you can always put a block or cushion on your heels. Okay, and sit on that. That makes it easier, especially on the knee joint. And then for Mukasana, if you can bring your right hand straight up and lift. Okay, nice long lift. Yes, that hand, good. And then drop it down behind you, bending at the elbow. Now, if it needs some help, you've got your left hand to go up, find the elbow and push it down a bit more. There we go. So I've actually got my fingers sort of pushing onto a nodule of my spine vertebra. And then my left hand comes all the way back behind me. And the fingers are going towards the other fingers until you can either hang on, or if you think, no, I can never hang on, I can't get there, you can dangle like a sock down or your belt down and from your right hand and catch it with your left. So looking like so. That's how it looks. And trying to keep the face facing the front, the spine perpendicular, the torso nice and upright. Okay. Wonderful for the shoulder joint. And you probably feel that the upper right arm is really having to stretch. So to release out of it, bring the right arm up and stretch up to the heavens, widen out the fingers. Lower the left hand down. Okay, and then take both arms out and rotate any way you like, but you're rotating through the arm. Egyptian movement if you want, or just like so. Okay, and then try and touch the opposite wall, so really extending out at the shoulders and then do micro circles with the fingertips. One way. Not so big, not so big, little circles. Little circles. Okay. And then circles the other way. Drop the shoulders. Okay, and then breathe out, release the hands down. Place one right hand on top of left. Pause there for a moment before we do the other side. So letting the shoulders just drop. Close the eyes, nothing to do. Bring the crown of the head, imagine it's being pulled by a string upwards towards the heavens. Opening the neck vertebra, especially at the back, whilst the shoulders themselves, those kind of sneaky little shoulders that keep going up to the ears, let's drop them down towards the floor. Okay, and then if you've been kneeling, you think, I've had enough of kneeling. Fine by me if you go to cross-legged, and the same, if you've been in cross-legged, had enough of cross-legged, you can move to kneeling. You can even do this sitting on a chair. And sometimes that's just what feels right. So last time we had the right arm up. So this time we're going to go and take the left hand up. So stretch the left hand upwards to the heavens. more. Really open it out. And then bend it at the elbow and place the hand down your spine. And then your right hand can come up to your left elbow and actually help and encourage pushing it down a bit more. Okay, and then you, maybe with your middle finger and index finger, you sort of notch onto a part of the spine. And then the right hand goes behind you, back of the hand, onto the torso, onto the back. And then you see if on this side, you can catch fingers. You might be able to, you'll find one side is easier usually than the other. And if not, dangle a sock down or your belt and work your hand up that so you get a bit closer. Remember, it's not a competition, you're right. Mainly it's about opening out your shoulder joint, stretching the upper arm, opening across the heart, breathing into it. And let's do this for a few more rounds of breath, because once we've got into the pose, it's quite a good idea to stay in it. If we can, if it's not uncomfortable. And then releasing the right arm down, left hand up, stretch the left hand up more. Breathe out, bring the left hand to halfway. Take the right hand out and again twisting into that shoulder joint all the way through. Either like that, sort of in Egyptian belly dancing arm position, or just doing them together. Keep the shoulders down if you can, relax them. Okay, and then kind of shake out the arms, shake. Let's give them a rub, because that's quite strong, that cow's head pose, good Mukasana. Okay, and then rub the palms together as well. And then the heat from that, just use to rub any area on the arm. Okay, relax, jiggle the shoulders. And I'd like you to come down now to seated. With the feet forwards. You might again need a small block or cushion underneath your seat. You can pull your sitting muscles back. Okay, and your feet, soles of your feet, just pull the toes towards you. See if we're lined up here. Like so. And you can spread your toes out a little if you can do that. Nice wide toes. Still bringing them towards you as much as possible. And we're going to go into a seated spinal twist, Relaxation. Okay, so rock the legs a moment. And then bend the right knee and place the right knee either on the inside of the left knee or over on the outside of the left knee. If you're going to go over on the outside of the left knee, definitely need to do some adjustments to your belly first. And that would be to lean back and move your belly over to your right, so towards that thigh, but you've leaned back so it's not jamming against the thigh, giving it some room to move over. So then you can lift that right foot over to the outside of the left knee, okay? And just make sure it's not on the blanket, you need it to stick to your mat. Then, you know what's coming, the left hand stretches up to the heavens and around the right knee, and the left palm of the hand goes onto the outside of the right thigh. So it's a really strong twist. The right hand all this time has been preparing itself around the back to be a staff, straight staff. So it's either fairly close to your block or fairly close to your tailbone, but wherever feels comfortable, it can be on the palm of the hand, fist, fingertips, pushing the torso more upright, okay? So now let's do some checks. You're still facing forward, Bring the left toes towards you. Straighten the crown of the head upwards to the heavens. Breathing out, twist, round to your right. Breathing in, lengthen upwards from the tailbone, all the way up. Keep the chin down a little. Breathe out, turn again to the right. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out, turn again to the right. So you're looking as far right as you can. Right round, comfortably right round. Until you really can't seem to move even a tiny millimetre more round. So that's a wonderful spinal twist. You can probably feel why we need to have that lift from the crown of the head. We don't want the internal organs between the ribcage and the pelvis to be all scrunched up down there. We need that nice long gap. Okay, and then breathing out, coming round, bring the arms round to the front. Okay, breathe in, lift your right foot. Okay, and place it on the floor for a moment. Right foot onto the floor. Bring your left foot up to meet it, and our interim pose is just going into the seated, comfortable seated, soles of the feet together, cobbler, and you can just allow the knees comfortably to do a bit of butterfly. Really good hip opener. Before we do the twist on the other side. Okay, so relax down. If you can reach to the ankles, just push a little with your forearms, opening out and bringing those heels in towards the torso. Okay, bring the shoulders down and back, shoulder blades coming together. Lovely, and just check there's no knee pressure on the front of those knees, and if so, you know you have to adapt on one side or the other, maybe loosen that foot out a bit more. Anyway, straighten out the legs in front of you. Okay, just check, bring your seat muscles, buttock muscles back. Okay, and both feet, the toes are coming towards you, just widen out the toes again. Let them wiggle and jiggle a bit, give them some space. Wiggle and jiggle the shoulders back a bit too. And then I'd like you to bring your left foot up towards the torso a bit. And if we're going to take it over to the outside of the right knee, we're going to have to prevent our bellies from traffic jamming against this thigh. So lean back and then consciously turn the belly as you're leaning back, so that when you come upright, there's more of the belly turned than pressed against the thigh. So giving it some room. Okay, and then you can lift the left foot up and over that right knee, from the outside of the right knee. And then you want to extend your right arm up to the heavens and bring it down and round that left knee. The palm can be along here, along the thigh of that right hand onto the left thigh. The left hand goes round the back and pushes to straighten you up. Okay, and then you breathe in, lengthen from the crown, and breathe out, turn to the left. Breathe in, lengthen from the crown. Breathe out, turn more to the left. Breathe in, lengthen in the crown, chin down, back and neck open. Breathe out, turn more to the left, till you've got more or less your maximum. And then breathing into that. Relax the shoulders down, if you can. It's hard to talk because the lungs are being so stretched. But yeah, shoulders down if you can. again, like with so many of the twists, they take a bit of time and effort to get into, so it's quite a good idea to hang around in them for a minimum of 30 seconds and longer if you can comfortably do it. Push the right heel away from you. Left shoulder going round, rotating round, looking behind, looking behind. Lovely, and then breathing in, coming back to the front and going back into the cobbler. Pull the heels in towards the torso, comfortably, okay. And then hands in Namaste, palms of the hands together, and just do the butterfly. Again, check the knees. If there's any pressure at the front of the knees, simply move that foot forward a little. Helps to ease it out. Okay, and then go down with the hands and hold on to the ankles and push with your forearms on each side to just bring the knees a little bit lower down comfortably. Don't hurt yourself. Okay. And then walk the hands forward. Okay, careful. This is where I don't want pressure through that knee joint. Just lower the chin to the chest, walking the hands forward. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So it's a forward bend in cobbler, but we're not going down very far. Okay, breathing in, bring the hands up, open out, upwards to the heavens, and breathing out, coming down. It's a really good sequence. Rub the knees again, release the feet out in front of you, rub the knees. Good, and then I'd like you to, if you did have a blanket on your mat for most of that, I would remove blankets or blocks because we're going to need the full mat. So it's always a good idea to have them fairly close to your mat, somewhere where you can just lean to reach. You'll probably need them again in a bit. And then we're going to do a kneeling side stretch. So like a Trikonasana, triangle pose, but we're doing it from kneeling. So I would come up to upright kneeling, and if you have something nice and squidgy to put under your knees, it's always a good idea. I like to protect my knees. Oh, that's so nice. That's nice and squidgy. You can get these kind of oblong squidgy mats from sports retailers and any sort of sports section from. Like Tesco sometimes have them as well, next to yoga mats. Anyway, they also have round circular ones as well for each knee. So drop the hands for a moment. And then what I'd like you to do, drop the shoulders down, extend the left leg out to the side, to the left. Okay. And you can have the toes going a little bit further away from you, or you can have the toes facing the front, but I find that my knee is happier if my toes are slightly facing away, not just straight to the front. Okay. And then I'd like you to bring your right hand out and take it down towards the floor, and take your left hand up to the heavens. So it looks like Trikonasana, but it's a kneeling Trikonasana. And then push on your outer left ankle. Lift your left hand to the ceiling, turn and look up to the ceiling. Check, you might find that your tailbone is sticking out. Pelvis is sticking out behind you. Tuck everything in line. So left ankle, hips, shoulders and right wrist, hopefully are all in a line. And arm up to the heavens. looking up. And you can take that arm into the extended pose by lowering it down past the left ear and still continue looking up through the left upper arm. And feel as though you're pushing your left hip away from you, just to extend that stretch right from the left foot all the way through the left fingers, all the way along that flank of the body. Lovely long side stretch. Wonderful, keep breathing into it. Okay, you probably had enough, so breathing in, coming up, look up, and then to come out of it, breathe out, palms down towards your hip, and walk heel toe, that left foot back towards you so that you can go back comfortably into kneeling and place both hands on your thighs as you pause and rest. Close the eyes for a moment, relax the shoulders back, shoulder blades coming together. Okay, and then breathing in, upright kneeling. And now it's your right foot that goes out, so right leg goes out. So check where your left knee is. It should be in line with your right heel. Okay. And then the hips also are in line. Okay. And then we take the left hand out to the side and we place it on the floor comfortably. So if your wrists are playing up and you want to go onto a fist, that's fine. Or if you want to go onto a block, that's fine. Okay. And then breathing in, the right hand goes up to the heavens, palms facing the front. And just check your alignment. And then look up to the heavens. Nice stretch, try and reach the ceiling with your fingertips. It's a good side stretch, but then it goes much more stretchy when we take that right arm over the right ear and try to point the fingers away from us. Push all of the sole of the foot on the right foot onto the ground. So stretching from the outside of that right ankle, all the way through that right hip, and all the way through the armpit area, and all the way through to the fingers. And you're looking up through that upper arm. Nice long stretch. Breathing into it. Let the pose work on you. And eventually, might already have happened, you begin to feel like you've had quite enough. Okay, so breathing in, take the right hand up to the heavens again, look up. Breathing out, take that hand down, palms downwards to the right hip. And then heel toe, your right foot towards you until you can bend the knee. Okay, and then go back to kneeling. Lock the knees a little if you like. Lock the thighs. And bring the palms of the hands onto the thighs comfortably. Elbows tucked in, shoulders back. Shoulder blades coming together and down. Chin down a little so the back of the neck is open. And crown of the head lifting upwards. So the very peaceful kneeling pose. If you ever have pain in this one at the front of your kneecap, you would probably be benefit from sitting on blocks. But blocks underneath your heels, on top of your heels, you're sitting on them. Or sit cross-legged or sit on the chair. You don't have to push the knee if it's feeling a little bit owie, a bit ouchy. So we're very close to doing the pose we've been heading for. And we just have one more pose to do before we get to it. And that's, this pose is the downward facing dog, Ardha Mukasana. So you don't need your knee pad. Place that out of the way. You might need to adjust your mat so you can do the pose, see what I'm doing. But I'll do it sideways on. And we're going to do it from, if you come down into child pose, take the knees quite wide. Okay. And then sit your tailbone down towards your big toes, which are touching, forearms on the floor, and walk the fingers along the floor away from you. Just do that nice spinal stretch. Fingers as far away from you as you can as you sit down the tailbone towards your heels. Okay. You probably feel that stretch in the back. That's what we want, nice long stretch. Just a nice restful pose, soothing pose. You can eventually stop stretching with force and just relax into the longest part of the stretch you can comfortably go into. Let go with the arms, let go around the shoulders and upper arms. They're not having to do anything there. Enjoy the pose. Security, safety, soothing, protected. Letting go. And then because we're going to go into the downward facing dog, Ardha Mukasana, so I bring the hands back towards the head and push the head up while tucking the toes under at the back, bringing the knees in, and then going into a wider table. So move the knees back and the hands forward, tuck the chin under, and up we go into that downward facing dog. And you can do the walking with the feet if you wish to help to stretch the backs of the legs and the Achilles tendon. So one knee bends and one knee at the same time straightens until eventually you might feel you've warmed up into it enough and you can really push the tailbone up and away into the heavens. Open out the shoulder blades, chin to chest, heels lowering down towards the floor. Okay, and then go up onto your tiptoes and bring the knees down towards the ground, onto the ground, flatten the feet. And again, widen out the knees, just resting in child pose, extended child pose for a moment. Resting bit is nice. And we're going to do the downward facing dog one more time, but with a leg lift. We might not stay up that long. So again, tuck the toes under, bring the knees in a little. And up we go into downward facing dog. So quite a wide gap between the hands and the feet. Do the walking action again. And then I'd like you to lift up your right leg, but keeping your pelvis level. So a high lift with that right leg. Lowering the left heel towards the ground if you can. And then bring that foot down and do the opposite side. Lift the left leg up, lowering the right heel down. for about the same amount of time. And then that left foot down, back into one final stretch in the downward facing dog. Lovely, and then knees down to the floor, stretch out the knees, forehead to the floor, walk the fingers away, nice long stretch. And then slide the hands past the head, past the knees, palms upwards by the feet. Pause, nothing to do, just allowing the body to breathe and absorb the benefits. Open the areas that were locked and loosen the areas that felt extremely tight. And tightening the areas that were a bit loose. The body's just sorting itself out. No rush from this pose, steady breathing, waiting until the body's calmed down a little. And then slide the hands to either side of the head, palms downwards, push, come up. Okay, so as you come up, what I'd like you to do is tuck your toes under. Okay, so you're in table. And then I'd like you to, if you can watch me, I'm coming up, pushing with my hands all the way towards my feet. Okay, until I straighten out my knees a little. You don't have to have the knees locked, especially if the lower back is a little bit iffy. But you can place the hands towards the feet or holding onto the big toes, or even tuck the hands underneath the feet. And this is the pose we were working towards. So we've been stretching the backs of the legs and opening out that hip joint and easing the knees and stretching shoulder blades wide so that you get into this pose comfortably. Of course, it's much harder to do first thing in the morning. And then I'd like you to release the feet, and we're just going to walk the hands away again. Until the knees come down. Look up into hammock position. Toes are tucked under, and then we're going to push back again. So it's as though you're going up into downward facing dog, but the hands start to move, stepping one at a time towards the feet. Drop the head, tuck the chin in, and then choosing your hand position once you get towards the feet. And you might find your knees have to stay quite deeply bent, but we're nudging towards a little bit more straight. Opening out the shoulder blades, allowing the head to come quite close in to the shin, to the knees. So these forward bends are soothing and calming. They really help to reduce stress, tension. They're good for lifting the mood, and also they're very, very good for stretching the backs of the legs, as you can probably feel. And it's a semi-inverted pose, so very beneficial. Okay, and then bring the hands a little bit higher up onto the front of the shin, then the knees a little bit more. Move, slide the hands up towards the knee, hold on to the knees, give them a bit of a rock. Just, you're crouched at the moment. Okay, and then push with the hands so that you've straightened up a bit more. And then keep going. so that the arms come up, but we're going into the strong pose, so that if you can see me, I'll come in a bit to here. Hopefully, the line from the ankle to the knee is echoed shoulder to wrist. It's like you're sitting down on an imaginary quite tall stool, and you're looking upwards through your hands, and the palms are facing each other. Okay, and then breathing in, straightening up, nice and straight, and then breathing out, coming down. Rotate the shoulders both ways. Nearly finished. Okay, and then I'd like you to just simple twist. Just watch me for a moment. No, sorry, not twist. It's a side stretch. You're going to go over to one side, and then you're going to look up over that shoulder, and then you're going to come up. Okay, so we've not done that before. Let's do that. You're sliding your right hand down your thigh, and then you turn the head and look over. Left shoulder up to the heavens, and then you can bring that right hand down a little bit more. Breathe in, come up, and then you do the other side. Left hand goes down, and then you turn and look over that right shoulder up to the heavens. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then breathe in, come up. And then I'd like you to go down, looking at the front, just down to each side. One, breathe in, breathe out, go down. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out, go down. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out, go down. Lovely. And then I'd like you to put your hands into your lower back and lower the head down, pushing the pelvis forwards, using your hands as support for the lower back and pelvis. Into that lovely back arch. And it probably really likes it after all the work we've been doing. Breathe in, come up and down a little, and just massage with your fists into pelvic area, sacroiliac joint area, back area. Okay, nearly done. And then bring the arms up in front of you, so they're facing towards the screen. Take them out. Okay, take them up. Down. Onto the heart. Lovely. So that's the end of that sequence, and now you only have to do relaxation. So I would suggest, again, putting your blanket onto your mat underneath you for comfort and cushioning. If you have socks, do put your socks on, keep yourself warm. If you have a sweater, if you have an eye pillow, nice to have the eye pillow. Another blanket. If you have a strong light above you, shining down on you, and you can put a gentler or softer light on, that's a good idea. So if you have glasses on, putting them down somewhere safe. If you need to, you might use a little slight block or cushion pillow under your head. Leave your shoulders down, away from your head. My pillow in place. And then you can kind of congratulate yourself on all the hard work you've done. That was a lovely long sequence, very beneficial. Your body will be thanking you for that. It also might, in about 24 to 48 hours, start telling you, you've really stretched that part of me. But it's good for you. So your palms are upwards, and we let the weight of the body now just sink down, going into this corpse pose and hoping that the body will go into yoga nidra, like a sleep state, completely letting go. So the breathing will gradually quieten itself down. Allow the body to become almost like liquid lead, totally letting go. And hopefully the mind can use two supports to stay present, because it'll want to wander off and think what it's doing next and what it hasn't done and what it's forgotten and all things it likes to do. So you can either let the mind rest on awareness of the breath and keep coming back to the breath, or you can let the mind come to awareness of the body and keep scanning the body, even in minute detail, if that helps the mind to stay steady and here rather than wandering off. So let go for a few moments of silence. Bringing the mind back to awareness of the body or the breath. And you can probably feel how the breathing has quietened down and the body feels so deeply relaxed. The lovely feeling of nothing to do. Simply being. And the body and the cells and the atoms of the body are absorbing the benefits of our practice. And if you wish to keep lying in the corpse pose, please do, even though I will finish the session. You're very welcome to stay there. For those of you who want to move, first of all, wriggle the fingers and the toes, feeling that movement coming into the body, and then bringing the legs to parallel and breathing in, stretch the arms behind you nice and long. Point the toes away from you. And then slide the heels up towards the torso, bending the knees, bringing the hands down to the sides, and then rolling over onto one side and coming up. Okay, no sudden movements at this stage. And then just seated, cross-legged for a moment. Or kneeling. And that's the end of the session.